The silver chain burns against Seraphina's collarbone the moment Elder Corvain fastens it around her neck, and she knows. She knows, with every instinct screaming inside her, that this is not a test she can survive. The council chamber falls silent as the ancient Luna necklace settles against her skin, its intricate wolf engravings gleaming under the torchlight, and 200 pairs of eyes watch her with barely concealed anticipation of her failure. "If you are truly the Nightshade Alpha's fated mate," Corvain announces, his voice echoing off the stone walls, "the necklace will recognize your bond. If you are the fraud we suspect, it will reject you. Violently." Seraphina's fingers tremble at her sides. She wants to reach for the necklace, to tear it away before whatever magic lives inside it can expose the truth she's hidden for 6 months. But Kale's half-brother Draven stands directly behind her, his hand hovering near her shoulder, ready to stop any attempt at escape. The entire Nightshade pack has gathered for this tribunal, summoned by whispers that their alpha has been bewitched by a low-born wolf with no lineage, no power, and no right to stand beside him as his mate. She can see Kale at the front of the chamber, his jaw clenched so tight she can see the muscle jumping beneath his skin, his silver eyes locked on her with an intensity that makes her chest ache. He tried to stop this. For 3 hours he'd argued with the council, his voice growing rougher and more dangerous with each denial, until Corvain had threatened to call for a vote of no confidence in his leadership. A vote that would strip him of his position as alpha if he couldn't prove his mate bond was genuine, and not the result of manipulation or dark magic. "I didn't bewitch him," Seraphina says, hating how small her voice sounds in the vast chamber. "I never asked for any of this." "No," Corvain agrees, circling her slowly like a predator assessing wounded prey. "You simply appeared in our territory 6 months ago with no pack history, no family name, and convenient memory loss about your origins. And within weeks, our alpha, who has rejected every suitable female presented to him for 10 years, suddenly claims you as his fated mate." He stops directly in front of her, his ancient eyes narrowed. "The timing is suspicious. Your lack of background is suspicious. And the fact that you bear no Luna mark, no physical manifestation of the mate bond, is damning." The necklace grows hotter against Seraphina's skin. She can feel it starting to burn, really burn, and she bites the inside of her cheek to keep from crying out. The pain spreads across her collarbone in branching patterns, like the metal is burrowing into her flesh, and she realizes with horror that this is the rejection Corvain mentioned. The necklace is ancient magic, forged by the first Lunas to identify true mates and expose false ones, and it's reacting to something in her blood that doesn't match what it expects to find, because she's not just Kale's fated mate. She's something else entirely. Something she's spent 6 months desperately trying to hide. "It's burning her," Kale growls, taking a step forward. The wolves nearest him back away instinctively, responding to the alpha command that rumbles beneath his words. "End this now." "The test takes time," Corvain says dismissively. "If she is your true mate, the necklace will accept her. If not..." He shrugs. "The magic will purge the deception from her blood. It will be painful, but she will survive. Probably." Seraphina's vision blurs as the burning intensifies. She can feel the necklace sinking into her skin now, the metal liquefying and spreading beneath the surface like molten silver in her veins. It's not supposed to do this. In all the histories she'd studied in secret, in all the accounts of Luna trials, the necklace either glowed with acceptance or turned black with rejection. It didn't merge with the tested wolf's body. It didn't feel like it was rewriting her from the inside out. "Something's wrong," she gasps, finally reaching up to claw at the necklace. Her fingers pass through where the chain should be. It's already disappeared beneath her skin, leaving only the burning sensation and a faint silver shimmer spreading across her collarbone. "It's not rejecting me. It's..." The pain explodes through her entire body and Seraphina screams. She feels herself falling, her knees hitting the stone floor, and then Kale is there, catching her before she can collapse completely. His arms wrap around her, and she buries her face against his chest, trying to breathe through the agony that feels like every cell in her body is being rewritten. "Get it off her!" Kale snarls at Corvain, and there's nothing human in his voice now. It's pure alpha fury, the kind that makes weaker wolves bare their throats in submission. "Now." "I can't," Corvain says, and for the first time there's uncertainty in his expression. He moves closer, studying the silver patterns now spreading down Seraphina's arms like living tattoos. The necklace has bonded with her. This shouldn't be possible. Unless... He cuts himself off, his eyes widening with something that looks like shock. Or fear. "Unless what?" Draven demands from behind them. What's happening to her? Seraphina can barely hear them over the roaring in her ears. The silver patterns have spread to her hands now, wrapping around her fingers in intricate spirals. And everywhere they touch, she feels power building. Not the comfortable warmth of her wolf, which she's kept carefully suppressed for months, but something older. Something that tastes like moonlight and ancient forests and magic that predates the pack hierarchies and territorial disputes of modern wolves. She's not just his mate, Corvain breathes, backing away. She's a celestial Luna. The necklace recognizes what she is. The chamber erupts in shocked murmurs. Kale's arms tighten around Seraphina protectively, and she can feel his heart pounding against her cheek, matching the frantic rhythm of her own. "That's impossible," Draven says. "The celestial Lunas died out centuries ago. There hasn't been one born in 800 years, Corvain finishes. Not since the moon goddess herself walked among the packs." He's staring at Seraphina with something approaching awe now, all his earlier suspicion replaced by shocked reverence. The necklace was created by a celestial Luna. It only merges with the skin of another celestial. I thought it was legend. I never thought... Seraphina's scream cuts him off as another wave of transformation rips through her. She can feel her bones reshaping, her senses sharpening to impossible degrees, and the silver patterns are everywhere now, covering her arms, spreading up her neck, marking her as something other, something more. "Make it stop," she pleads, looking up at Kale with tears streaming down her face. "Please, I can't... I don't know what's happening." "You're evolving," Kale says quietly, and his hand comes up to cup her face with a gentleness that contradicts the lethal power she can feel coiled in his muscles. "The necklace is unlocking what you've kept hidden, what you've been suppressing." He knows. She can see it in his eyes. He's always known there was more to her than she revealed. And he'd claimed her anyway, had fought the council for 3 hours to prevent this exact moment of exposure, because he'd wanted to give her time to trust him enough to tell him the truth herself. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I was afraid. I didn't know what I was, only that I was different. And every pack I tried to join either wanted to use me or destroy me, and I just wanted somewhere safe." "You're safe here," Kale interrupts, and there's a command in his voice that makes every wolf in the chamber freeze. "You're mine, Seraphina. My mate. My Luna. And anyone who tries to harm you will answer to me." The silver patterns suddenly flare brilliant white, so bright that wolves cry out and shield their eyes. Seraphina feels the transformation complete itself in a rush of power that lifts her off the floor, her body rising from Kale's arms to hover 3 feet above the ground as ancient magic reshapes her into what she was always meant to be. Her hair, which had been ordinary brown, bleaches to silver white in a matter of seconds. Her eyes, when she opens them, glow with internal moonlight. And the patterns on her skin settle into permanent marks, silver tattoos that map out constellations and moon phases across every inch of exposed flesh. When she finally lowers back to the ground, She's not the same wolf who entered the council chamber. She's taller, stronger, and she can feel power thrumming through her veins like a second heartbeat. Power to heal, power to strengthen pack bonds, power to call on the moon goddess herself if needed. Power that makes her immortal. The silence in the chamber is absolute. Even Corvain has dropped to one knee, his head bowed in submission to what she's become. Around the room, wolves are following his example, lowering themselves in respect to the celestial Luna standing before them. All except Kale, who remains standing, his eyes drinking in every change with an expression that makes Seraphina's breath catch. There's possession in that look. Hunger. And pride that she can feel echoing through the mate bond that suddenly blazes between them, no longer hidden or suppressed, but fully manifest and powerful enough to make the air around them shimmer. "You're beautiful," he says roughly, closing the distance between them. His hand comes up to trace one of the silver patterns on her neck, following it down to where it disappears beneath the collar of her dress. "And you're mine. You've always been mine." "I didn't know," Seraphina says, and she's crying again. But these are different tears. Relief. Joy. The overwhelming emotion of finally being seen and accepted for everything she is. "I didn't know what I was. I thought I was broken. Wrong. Every pack I'd been with before made me feel like a monster." "Then they were fools," Kale growls. His thumb brushes away her tears, and his touch sends sparks of electricity across her skin where the mate bond has fully activated. "You're not a monster. You're a gift from the moon goddess herself. And you chose me." "I didn't choose you," she admits, managing a shaky laugh. "You found me half dead in your territory and refused to let me leave. You chose me. Best decision I ever made." Kale's smile is fierce, predatory, and entirely devoted. Then he turns to address the assembled pack, his voice carrying alpha command that makes even the strongest wolves shiver. "Seraphina is my fated mate, and your celestial Luna. Anyone who questions her place beside me, who doubts her right to lead this pack, can challenge me now. Step forward and face me." No one moves. The chamber remains silent except for the sound of breathing and the crackle of torches on the walls. "Good," Kale says. Then, to Corvain, "Tell me what this means. Everything. What is a celestial Luna capable of?" Corvain rises slowly, his movements careful and respectful. "The histories say they were the moon goddess's direct representatives on Earth. They could heal any wound, break any curse, strengthen pack bonds, and grant blessings that lasted generations." He pauses, studying Seraphina with renewed interest. "They were also immortal. The necklace merging with her skin means she can't be killed by normal means. She'll live as long as the moon itself." The words hit Seraphina like a physical blow. Immortal. She'll watch everyone she loves age and die. She'll outlive Kale by centuries, maybe millennia, and the thought makes her chest tighten with panic. "I don't want immortality," she says, shaking her head. "I want a normal life, a normal mate bond. I want—" "Me," Kyle interrupts, gripping her shoulders and forcing her to meet his eyes. "You want me, and you have me. For as long as I live, you have me." "And then what?" Seraphina demands, her voice breaking. "Then I watch you die? I live for centuries alone?" "No." Kale's expression is grim but determined. "Because if you're immortal, I'll find a way to become immortal too. There are old magics, rituals that can extend life indefinitely. If the moon goddess gave you eternity, she did it for a reason, and I'm not letting you face that reason alone." "Alpha Kale," Corvain says carefully, "such rituals are dangerous. They require sacrifices." "I don't care," Kale cuts him off. "Find them. Research them. I want every text on life extension, every record of wolves who extended their years beyond natural limits, brought to me within the week." He looks back at Seraphina, and his voice softens. I meant what I said. You're mine, and I protect what's mine, even from time itself. Seraphina feels something in her chest loosen at his words. The panic recedes, replaced by tentative hope and the overwhelming certainty that this male, her mate, means every word he's saying. He won't let her face immortality alone. He'll find a way to stay with her, no matter what it costs. The mark, Draven says suddenly, drawing everyone's attention. He's moved closer, staring at Seraphina's collarbone where the necklace first made contact. Look at her Luna mark. Seraphina glances down and freezes. Where the necklace had rested, there's now a permanent mark burned into her skin, an intricate wolf design that matches the one on Kale's left shoulder blade. The mate mark that proves their bond beyond any doubt. But hers is different. While Kale's is black ink, traditional and unchanging, hers shifts and moves. The silver wolf seems to breathe, its eyes opening and closing, its tail swishing as if alive. And as she watches, the wolf turns its head to look up at her, its expression knowing and ancient. It's alive, she breathes. Of course it is, Corvain says, and there's wonder in his voice. You're not just his mate. You're his celestial Luna. Your mark will be as eternal and powerful as you are. He pauses, then adds quietly. The old texts say that when a celestial Luna marks her mate in return, she can share her immortality with him. The bond becomes unbreakable, eternal. Kale goes very still. Is that true? It's what the histories claim, Corvain confirms, but no one has witnessed it in 8 centuries, so I cannot verify. Do it, Kale says, looking at Seraphina with intensity that steals her breath. Mark me. Make this permanent. You don't know what you're asking, Seraphina protests. Immortality isn't a gift, Kale. It's a curse. You'll outlive everyone, your pack, your friends, future generations. We'll have us to protect them, Kale finishes, a celestial Luna and her alpha mate, watching over the Nightshade pack for eternity. That's not a curse, Seraphina. That's purpose. He takes her hand, pressing it against his chest where she can feel his heart beating strong and steady. I was meant to find you. The moon goddess herself orchestrated our meeting, and I'm not going to waste this gift by being afraid of forever. Seraphina searches his face for any sign of doubt, any hesitation, but finds only fierce determination and a love so intense it makes her knees weak. He means it. He wants this. Wants her for eternity. I don't know how, she admits. I don't know how to mark you. Your wolf knows, Corvain says. Let her guide you. The celestial magic will do the rest. Seraphina closes her eyes and reaches for her wolf. The presence that rises to meet her is different now. Stronger, more primal, crowned in moonlight and ancient power. Her wolf doesn't just want to mark Kale. She wants to claim him completely, to bind him to them so thoroughly that nothing in heaven or earth could separate them. When Seraphina opens her eyes, they're glowing pure silver. She rises on her toes, wrapping one hand around the back of Kale's neck to pull him down to her level. He comes willingly, his own eyes flashing with his wolf's presence, and when she presses her mouth to his, the kiss is incendiary. It's possession and promise and power all rolled into one, and she feels the magic building between them like a storm about to break. She pulls back just far enough to whisper against his lips, "Mine." "Yours," Kale confirms. "Always yours." Seraphina's canines extend and she strikes, sinking them into the curve of Kale's shoulder where it meets his neck. His blood fills her mouth, hot and coppery and laced with alpha power. And the moment she swallows, the magic explodes outward. Silver light engulfs them both, so bright and intense that wolves cry out and stumble backward, shielding their eyes from the radiance. Seraphina feels the bond snap into place with a force that drives her to her knees. Kale goes down with her, his arms locked around her waist as the magic rewrites him the same way the necklace had rewritten her. She can feel his life force expanding, strengthening, weaving itself into her own until she can't tell where she ends and he begins. Their hearts beat in perfect synchronization, their breaths match, and when the light finally fades, leaving them kneeling on the chamber floor in each other's arms, Seraphina can feel him in her mind, his thoughts, his emotions, his absolute devotion to her blazing like the sun. The mark on Kale's shoulder has changed. Where there had been a traditional black wolf, there's now a silver one that matches Seraphina's, alive and moving, its eyes glowing with the same inner light as hers. And she knows without checking that her mark has changed too, becoming a mirror of his. They're truly mated now, bound in a way that transcends normal pack bonds. Eternal. How do you feel? Seraphina asks, pulling back enough to study his face for any sign of pain or regret. Kale's smile is savage and satisfied, powerful, complete, and absolutely certain that I just became the luckiest alpha who ever lived. His hand comes up to trace the marks on her face, following the silver patterns that map constellations across her skin. You're mine for eternity now. No taking it back. I wouldn't want to, Seraphina admits. The fear of immortality has faded, replaced by the bone-deep certainty that facing forever with Kale beside her is something she can not only survive, but embrace. But you realize this means you're stuck protecting me from every threat for the next several thousand years? Not protecting you, Kale corrects, standing and pulling her up with him. He keeps her hand clasped in his as he turns to face the assembled pack. Fighting beside you. You're a celestial Luna. You don't need protection. You need a partner. The truth of his words resonates through Seraphina. She can feel the power thrumming through her veins, the magic that makes her more than just a normal wolf. She could defend herself against any threat, could probably defend the entire pack if needed. But having Kale beside her, choosing to stand with her rather than in front of her, makes all the difference. The trial is concluded, Corvain announces, his voice formal but tinged with awe. Seraphina has been proven as Alpha Kale's fated mate and revealed as a celestial Luna. The pack is honored to welcome her as our Luna. He pauses, then adds with a slight smile, and the council apologizes for doubting your judgment, Alpha. Clearly the moon goddess's plan was beyond our understanding. Clearly, Kale agrees dryly, then his expression hardens. But let's be clear about something. Seraphina was my mate before the necklace proved it, before the transformation. If she had been a simple Omega with no power at all, she would still be standing here as my Luna, because I chose her. Not her bloodline, not her abilities, but her. Remember that the next time any of you think to question my choices. The rebuke hangs in the air, and Seraphina watches dozens of wolves drop their gazes in acknowledgement. Even Draven, who had been so quick to doubt her, now looks chastened. Come, Kale says, tugging her toward the chamber doors. We're leaving. The pack can celebrate their celestial Luna without us hovering over them. Where are we going? Seraphina asks, following him through the parting crowd of wolves. Somewhere private, Kale says, and there's heat in his voice that makes her shiver. Where I can properly claim my immortal mate without an audience. Her face flushes, but she doesn't protest. The mate bond is pulling taut between them, demanding completion, and every instinct she has is screaming at her to get Kale alone and finish what they started with the marking bite. They make it to his private chambers in record time, the door barely closed before Kale has her pressed against it, his mouth claiming hers with hunger that's been building for 6 months. Seraphina kisses him back with equal desperation, her fingers tangling in his dark hair as she arches against him. I wanted you the moment I found you, Kale growls against her throat, his canines scraping over her pulse point. Half dead, and still fighting me, warning me to stay back even though you could barely stand. I took one look at you and knew you were mine. I thought you were going to kill me, Seraphina admits breathlessly. You looked so angry. I was angry, Kale confirms, his hands spanning her waist. Angry that someone had hurt you badly enough to leave you for dead in my territory. Angry that you were afraid of me when every instinct I had was screaming to protect you. Angry that I couldn't immediately hunt down whoever was responsible and tear them apart. He lifts her easily, carrying her to the massive bed that dominates one wall. But instead of following her down, he pauses, his expression becoming serious. I need you to understand something, he says quietly. What happened in the chamber, the transformation, the immortality, all of it, changes nothing about how I feel about you. I didn't mark you because you're a celestial Luna. I marked you because you're Seraphina, because you're brave and kind and stronger than you realize, because you make me laugh and challenge me and see me as more than just an alpha. The power is incredible, yes, but it's not why I love you. Seraphina's breath catches. It's the first time he's said the words out loud, though she's felt them through the bond for weeks. You love me? Completely, Kale confirms. Eternally. And I'm going to spend the next several thousand years proving it to you. Seraphina pulls him down to her, kissing him with everything she has. I love you too, she whispers against his mouth. I have since you refused to let me leave, since you fought the council for 3 hours trying to protect me, since you looked at me like I was precious instead of broken. You were never broken, Kale says fiercely. You were evolving, becoming exactly what you were meant to be. What we were meant to be, Seraphina corrects. Together. The word hangs between them, weighted with promise and eternity. Then Kale's mouth is on hers again, and there's no more talking, just sensation and emotion and the overwhelming certainty that this bond, this male, this forever, is exactly what she's been searching for her entire life. Hours later, Seraphina lies in Kale's arms, her head resting on his chest as she listens to his heartbeat. The silver patterns on her skin glow softly in the darkness, providing enough light to see the matching marks on Kale's shoulder and chest where the mate bond has permanently marked him as hers. What do we do now? She asks quietly. With eternity stretching out before us? We protect the pack, Kale says, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on her back. We grow stronger together. We find other wolves who need sanctuary and give them what you never had. A home where being different is celebrated instead of feared. He pauses. And we live, Seraphina. We explore the world. Learn everything there is to learn. Experience everything we can. We make eternity an adventure instead of a burden. That sounds... Seraphina searches for the right word. Perfect. Terrifying. Overwhelming. All of the above, Kale agrees with a soft laugh. But we'll figure it out together. That's what mates do. Seraphina shifts to look up at him, studying the face she'll be waking up to for the next 1,000 years. I was so scared, she admits. When Corvain put that necklace on me, I was terrified it would expose what I was and you'd reject me. That the pack would want me dead. Never, Kale says fiercely, cupping her face. I would have fought the entire council if they'd tried to harm you. Would have challenged every wolf in that chamber and torn through anyone who stood between us. I know, Seraphina says softly. I felt it through the bond. Your fury. Your desperation to protect me. It's what gave me the courage to let the transformation happen instead of fighting it. Good, Kyle says. Then, with a hint of mischief, though I have to admit, watching you hover 3 feet off the ground glowing like a moon goddess was both the most terrifying and most arousing thing I've ever witnessed. Seraphina laughs, the sound bright and genuine. Arousing? You have no idea what you look like, Kale says, his voice dropping to a growl. Power personified, untouchable. Mine. His hand slides down her back possessively. Every wolf in that chamber wanted you in that moment. But you only had eyes for me. Because you're my mate, Seraphina says simply. The only one I want. Forever. The word still feels strange on her tongue. Forever. But looking into Kale's eyes, seeing the absolute devotion reflected there, she thinks maybe forever won't be long enough. Not to explore everything this bond offers, not to experience everything they can accomplish together. A knock at the door interrupts the moment. Kale growls, clearly annoyed at the interruption, but calls out, "What?" "Alpha!" Corvain's voice comes through the heavy wood. "Forgive the intrusion, but there's something you both need to see. In the old archives. It's about Celestial Lunas and their mates." Kale and Seraphina exchange glances. "Give us 10 minutes," Kale calls back. They dress quickly, though Kale can't seem to stop touching her, his hand at her waist, fingers trailing down her arm, lips brushing her temple. The mate bond is still new and demanding, wanting constant contact and reassurance. Corvain is waiting in the hallway when they emerge, an ancient leather-bound book in his hands. "I've been researching since the trial," he explains, falling into step beside them as they walk. "Trying to find any information about Celestial Lunas and what your mating means for the pack." "And?" Kyle prompts when the old wolf hesitates. "And I found records of the last Celestial Luna," Corvain says quietly. "Her name was Morian. She lived 800 years ago and was mated to Alpha Theron of the Shadowcrest pack." He opens the book to a marked page. "They ruled together for 300 years. Their pack became the most powerful in the known world, unconquerable." "What happened to them?" Seraphina asks, though part of her already knows the answer from the way Corvain's expression darkens. "Theron was killed in battle against dark wolves. Creatures corrupted by blood magic," Corvain says. "Morian survived, but she went mad with grief. The histories say she called down the moon itself and destroyed both armies, dark wolves, and her own pack included. Then she walked into the sea and was never seen again." Silence follows his words. Seraphina feels Kale's hand tighten on hers and she squeezes back, trying to offer comfort even as her own mind reels from the implications. "That won't be us," Kale says firmly. "I'm immortal now too. The mate bond makes me as unkillable as Seraphina." "Are you certain?" Corvain asks gently. "The mark proves the bond, but immortality through marking is theoretical. It's never been witnessed or verified." "Then we'll be the first to verify it," Kale says with absolute confidence, "because I'm not leaving her. Not in this life or any other." Seraphina loves him for the certainty in his voice, but fear curls in her stomach anyway. What if the immortality didn't transfer fully? What if she has to watch him age while she remains frozen in time? What if— "Stop," Kyle interrupts her spiraling thoughts, turning to face her fully. "I can feel your panic through the bond. Listen to me, Seraphina. I marked you just as you marked me. Our hearts beat in sync. Our thoughts connect. Everything about this bond says we're equals in every way." He presses her hand against his chest. "Feel that? I'm stronger than I was before. Faster. My senses are sharper. The bond changed me just as the necklace changed you." Seraphina focuses on his heartbeat, on the power she can feel thrumming beneath his skin. He's right. He does feel different. More. And through the bond she can sense no weakness, no mortality, just the same eternal strength that fills her own veins. "Okay," she breathes. "Okay. I believe you." "Good," Kale says. Then, to Corvain, "Was there anything else in the histories? Anything useful about what a Celestial Luna can do?" Corvain nods slowly. "Morian could heal mortal wounds with a touch. She could strengthen pack bonds to the point where her wolves could communicate telepathically across vast distances, and she could grant blessings, enhanced strength, speed, fertility to barren pairs, protection from certain magics. He pauses. But the most interesting ability was her power to identify corruption. Dark magic, blood magic, any supernatural contamination. She could see it like a stain on the soul. That's how she found the dark wolves, Seraphina realizes. She could see what they'd become. Yes, Corvain confirms, which makes your presence here incredibly valuable, Luna. If dark wolves still exist, and rumors suggest they do, you'll be able to identify them before they can infiltrate and destroy from within. The weight of responsibility settles on Seraphina's shoulders. It's not enough to just be Kale's mate. She's expected to use her powers to protect the pack, to hunt corruption, to be a weapon against threats she doesn't fully understand yet. We'll figure it out, Kale says quietly, sensing her uncertainty. Together, one day at a time, or 1 century at a time. He manages a slight smile. We've got nothing but time. Seraphina leans against him, drawing strength from his presence. I'm going to need training. If I'm supposed to hunt dark wolves, I need to learn how to fight. Really fight. I'll train you myself, Kale promises. And Draven, despite his earlier doubts, is the best warrior in the pack. He'll help too. Will he? Seraphina asks doubtfully. He seemed convinced I was a fraud. He was protecting me, Kale says, protecting the pack from a potential threat. But now that you've proven yourself, he'll be one of your most loyal defenders. You'll see. A commotion outside draws their attention. Raised voices, the sound of running feet, and then a warrior bursts into the corridor, breathing hard. Alpha! He pants, dropping to one knee. We have a situation. A group of wolves at the border requesting sanctuary. They say they're fleeing dark wolf attacks. Kyle's expression hardens. How many? 15. Mostly females and young. They're injured and exhausted. Bring them to the healing hall, Kale orders, then, glancing at Seraphina. Think you're ready to try out those celestial Luna healing powers? Despite her nervousness, Seraphina nods. Let's find out. The healing hall is chaos when they arrive. 15 wolves in various states of injury fill the space, and the pack healers are overwhelmed trying to treat everyone at once. Seraphina can smell blood and fear and something else, something dark and rotting that makes her wolf snarl in warning. Corruption, she breathes, her eyes scanning the refugees. One of them has been touched by dark magic. Kyle goes very still beside her. Which one? Seraphina's new senses guide her unerringly to a young male in the corner, his arm wrapped in bloodied bandages. To normalize, he looks like any other injured wolf. But to her celestial vision, there's a black stain spreading from his shoulder, creeping toward his heart like poison. Him, she says quietly. He's been bitten by something corrupted. The darkness is spreading. The young male's eyes widen when he realizes she's talking about him. Please, he begs. I didn't know. The creature that attacked us. I thought I fought it off, but its bite. He clutches his shoulder, agony clear on his face. It burns. It's in my blood. Please, can you help me? Seraphina approaches slowly, Kale a solid presence at her back. She can feel the rest of the pack watching, waiting to see what their new celestial Luna will do. Whether she can actually heal corruption, or if it's beyond even her power. I'll try, she says, kneeling beside the young male. What's your name? Casimir, he gasps. My name is Casimir. Okay, Casimir. I'm going to try to draw the corruption out. It's going to hurt. More than it already does? He manages a pained laugh. Unlikely. Seraphina places her hand over his wounded shoulder, and the moment her skin makes contact with his, she can feel the darkness writhing beneath. It's alive somehow, feeding on his life force, trying to corrupt his wolf and turn him into something monstrous. Without thinking, she calls on the power that's been building inside her since the transformation, letting it flow down her arm and into Casimir's body. Silver light explodes from her palm and Casimir screams. The darkness fights back, trying to resist the purifying magic, but Serafina doesn't let go. She pours more power into him, burning away the corruption inch by inch, cell by cell, until finally the darkness has nowhere left to hide. It comes rushing out of the bite wound in a stream of black ichor that sizzles when it hits the floor. Casimir collapses backward, breathing hard but blessedly free of the dark stain. His wound is still there, but it's clean now. Just normal torn flesh that the healers can treat. Serafina sways on her feet, exhausted from the effort, and Kale catches her immediately. "Easy," he murmurs. "That was incredible, but don't burn yourself out." "There might be others," Serafina says, scanning the remaining refugees. Her vision confirms what she feared. 3 more have traces of corruption, though none as advanced as Casimir's was. 3 more are touched. You need to rest first," Kale interrupts firmly. "You just expelled centuries-old corruption. That took massive power. The others can wait an hour while you recover." But Serafina shakes her head. "If I wait, the darkness spreads. They could turn before I get another chance." She pulls away from Kale's support, straightening her spine. "I can do this. I have to." The next hour is a blur of healing and purification. Serafina works her way through the 3 corrupted wolves, burning away darkness and leaving clean wounds behind. By the time she finishes with the last one, a teenage girl who cries with relief when the burning pain finally stops, Serafina is swaying on her feet, her silver marks dim and her strength nearly depleted. Kale doesn't wait for permission this time. He simply sweeps her into his arms and carries her out of the healing hall, ignoring her weak protests. "The others still need normal healing," she argues. "And they'll get it from the pack healers," Kale says firmly. "You've done enough. More than enough. You saved 4 lives tonight, Serafina. Let someone else handle the routine injuries." He's right, and she's too exhausted to argue further. She lets her head rest against his shoulder as he carries her back to their chambers, the sounds of the pack fading behind them. "You were magnificent," Cal says quietly as he lays her on the bed. "Terrifying and magnificent. Every wolf in that room just witnessed their celestial Luna's power firsthand. There won't be any more doubts about your place here." "Good," Serafina mumbles, already half asleep. "Tired of doubts." Kyle's laugh is soft and affectionate. He removes her boots and covers her with a blanket, then climbs in beside her, pulling her against his chest. "Sleep," he commands gently. "I'll watch over you." Serafina wants to argue that she doesn't need watching, but the truth is, having Kale's arms around her, feeling his heartbeat steady against her back, makes her feel safer than she's ever felt in her life. So she lets herself drift off, secure in the knowledge that her mate, her eternal mate, will be there when she wakes. When she opens her eyes again, the sun is high in the sky and Kale is gone. But she can feel him through the bond, somewhere in the training grounds, working with the warriors. The connection between them is so clear now that she can sense his satisfaction with how the session is going, his pride in his pack's skill. A knock at the door pulls her attention. "Come in," she calls, sitting up and running fingers through her tangled hair. Corvain enters, the ancient book still in his hands. "Luna," he greets with a respectful nod. "Forgive the intrusion. I wanted to show you something before you heard it from others." Serafina's stomach tightens. "What is it?" "Your healing last night," Corvain says, opening the book to a new page. "Word has already spread beyond our pack. By this morning we had 5 packs requesting an audience with you, wolves who need healing, corruption cleansing, blessings." He meets her eyes seriously. You're not just our Luna anymore, Seraphina. You're the celestial Luna, the first in 800 years. Every pack within 1,000 miles is going to want your help. The weight of it crashes down on her. It's not enough to protect one pack. She's expected to help them all, to be a symbol and a healer and a weapon against darkness for every wolf who needs her. I can't, she says, shaking her head. I can barely control what I did last night. I have no training, no. You have instinct, Corvain interrupts gently, and you have time to learn. Eternity, in fact. He sets the book aside. But you need to decide how you want to handle this. Alpha Kale will support whatever you choose. If you want to focus solely on our pack, he'll turn away the others. If you want to help everyone who asks, he'll make it happen. The choice is yours. Seraphina closes her eyes, reaching for the bond that connects her to Kael. His presence is immediately there, warm and solid, offering silent support without trying to influence her decision. What do I do? She asks him through the bond, testing this new form of communication. She feels his surprise and pleasure that she's reached out this way. Then his answer comes. Crystal clear. Whatever feels right to you. I'm with you regardless. The simplicity of his support makes her decision easier. She looks at Corvain and says, I'll help those who need it, but on our terms. They come here, to Nightshade territory, where I'm protected, where Kale can ensure I'm not overwhelmed or exploited. And they wait their turn. I won't burn myself out trying to heal the entire wolf population in a week. Corvain's smile is approving. A wise decision, Luna. I'll draft the announcement and send it to the neighboring packs today. After he leaves, Seraphina takes her time getting ready, her mind still spinning with everything that's happened in the last 24 hours. Yesterday morning, she'd been a simple wolf with hidden power, terrified of exposure. Now she's a celestial Luna, marked and mated to an alpha, responsible for healing corruption and protecting wolves across multiple territories. The transformation is dizzying, but as she steps out of the chamber and immediately feels Kale's attention focus on her through the bond, as she senses his love and pride and absolute devotion, she thinks maybe she can handle this. Maybe together, they really can face eternity and everything it brings. She finds him in the training yard, overseeing a sparring match between two warriors. The moment he sees her, his expression softens and he crosses the space between them in long strides. How are you feeling? He asks, scanning her face for signs of lingering exhaustion. Better, Seraphina says honestly. Overwhelmed, but better. Corvain told me about the other packs, Kale says, his hand finding hers automatically. I'm proud of you for agreeing to help them, but if it becomes too much, you'll protect me, Seraphina finishes. I know. I can feel it through the bond. Your constant need to keep me safe. It's not just a need, Kale admits. It's an obsession. You're the most important thing in my world, Seraphina. More important than the pack. More important than my position as alpha. If I had to choose between you and everything else, I'd choose you every single time. The fierce possessiveness in his voice should probably alarm her. Instead, it makes her feel cherished, claimed, his. Good thing you'll never have to choose, she says, rising on her toes to kiss him. Because I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me for the next several thousand years. Best news I've heard all day, Kale murmurs against her lips. Then louder, addressing the training warriors. Session's over. Luna and I have somewhere to be. Where are we going? Seraphina asks as he tugs her away from the yard. To the archives, Kale says. If we're going to face eternity together, we should probably learn everything we can about what that means. What a celestial Luna is truly capable of. What threats we might face. Knowledge is power, and I want us to be as prepared as possible. They spend the rest of the day buried in ancient texts, learning about Morion and the celestial Lunas who came before her, about their powers and their weaknesses, their triumphs and their tragedies. And with each page they read, Seraphina feels more confident in her new role, more certain that she and Kyle can write a different ending than Morion's grief-stricken destruction. Because they have something Morion didn't, a bond that made them both immortal, equal partners facing forever together. As the sun sets and Kale pulls her into his lap, still reading aloud from a particularly interesting text about blessing rituals, Seraphina lets herself relax into his embrace. The future is uncertain, dangerous, probably, full of challenges she can't even imagine yet. But with Kale beside her, with the mate bond connecting them in ways that transcend normal wolf relationships, she's ready to face whatever comes. Ready to be the celestial Luna her pack needs, ready to embrace eternity and all the adventures it will bring. "I love you," she says suddenly, interrupting his reading. Kale looks down at her, his expression softening. "I love you too, for now and always." "For now and always," Seraphina echoes. And wrapped in her mate's arms, the silver marks on her skin glowing softly in the fading light, she believes it. 3 weeks pass in peaceful routine, healing refugees, training with Draven, learning to control her celestial powers, before the darkness comes for them. Seraphina is in the healing hall, working on a young wolf's broken leg, when every instinct she has suddenly screams danger. She straightens abruptly, her silver marks flaring bright, and through the bond she feels Kale's instant alertness. "What is it?" His voice echoes in her mind. "Something's wrong," she sends back. "Something's coming." She's barely finished the thought when the first explosion rocks the compound. The healing hall's windows shatter inward and wolves scream, diving for cover as smoke billows through the openings. Seraphina throws up a shield instinctively, silver light crackling around the injured wolves to protect them from the debris. And she's moving before she consciously decides to, racing toward the source of the attack. The main courtyard is chaos. Dozens of wolves, corrupted ones, their eyes black, and their bodies wreathed in dark smoke, are pouring through a breach in the perimeter wall. They move with unnatural speed and coordination, and Seraphina realizes with horror that this isn't a random attack. This is organized, planned. Someone sent these dark wolves specifically to target the Nightshade Pack. To target her. Kale is already there, in full alpha form, massive and deadly as he tears into the nearest corrupted wolf. But for everyone he kills, 2 more seem to appear. The pack warriors are fighting valiantly, but they're being overwhelmed by sheer numbers and the dark wolves' supernatural strength. Seraphina doesn't hesitate. She calls on her power and lets it explode outward in a wave of purifying silver light. It washes over the courtyard like a tsunami, and the dark wolves shriek as the corruption burns away from their bodies. Those who survive the purge collapse to the ground, return to their normal wolf forms but unconscious and critically injured. But the attack doesn't stop. More corrupted wolves keep coming through the breach. And behind them, Seraphina sees something that makes her blood run cold. A figure wrapped in shadows, tall and ancient and radiating malevolence so thick she can taste it. "A shadow keeper," Corvain gasps from beside her, his face pale with terror. "I thought they were extinct, legends meant to scare young wolves." "What is it?" Seraphina demands, watching as the creature raises one shadowy hand and the remaining dark wolves surge forward with renewed fury. "A wolf who gave itself completely to corruption," Corvain says. "Traded its soul for dark power. They can create dark wolves with a bite, control them like puppets, and they can't be killed by normal means." He looks at her desperately. "Only celestial Luna magic can destroy them permanently." The Shadow Keeper's attention fixes on Seraphina, and she feels the weight of its focus like ice down her spine. When it speaks, its voice is layered with 1,000 whispers. Celestial Luna, the moon goddess's little weapon, you've been purifying my creations, freeing wolves I spent decades corrupting. That ends tonight. It moves with impossible speed, crossing the courtyard in a blur of shadow. Seraphina barely has time to throw up a shield before it crashes into her, and the impact sends her flying backward into the stone wall. She hits hard enough that her vision whites out for a moment, and she tastes blood in her mouth. Kale's roar of fury shakes the very ground. He launches himself at the Shadow Keeper with lethal intent, but the creature simply backhands him aside like he weighs nothing. Kale crashes through a wooden fence and doesn't get up immediately, and Seraphina feels his pain echo through the bond along with his rage at being unable to protect her. Your mate is strong, the Shadow Keeper observes, stalking toward where Seraphina is struggling to her feet. But not strong enough. Immortality means nothing if I can trap you both in shadow for eternity. Conscious, aware, unable to die, but unable to live. A fitting punishment for interfering with my work. Seraphina's power flares in response to the threat. Silver light explodes from her skin, so bright the Shadow Keeper actually recoils, and she realizes something important. This creature is afraid of her, afraid of what she represents. Because celestial Luna magic is the only thing in existence that can permanently end its corrupted immortality. You came here to kill me, Seraphina says, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. Because you know I'm a threat. Because every dark wolf I purify is one less puppet in your army. I came here to eliminate a problem before it grows, the Shadow Keeper corrects. You're newly transformed, untrained, weak. In a century you might be dangerous. But now? It laughs, the sound like breaking glass. Now you're just a child playing with power you don't understand. The words are meant to shake her confidence, to make her doubt herself. But Seraphina thinks of Casimir and the 3 others she purified, thinks of the dozens of corrupted wolves she cleansed in the courtyard moments ago, and she knows the Shadow Keeper is wrong. She does understand her power. Maybe not completely, maybe not perfectly, but enough. Enough to do what needs to be done. She reaches for Kyle through the bond, pulling on his strength, his certainty, his absolute faith in her. He gives it freely, pouring his power into her until she's blazing like a star. Then she reaches deeper, calling on the ancient magic that lives in her blood, the blessing of the moon goddess herself. You're right, she tells the Shadow Keeper. I am newly transformed. But you know what that means? She lets her power build higher and higher until the very air crackles with energy. It means I don't know my limits yet. Don't know when to stop. Don't know how to hold back. She unleashes everything she has in one devastating blast of pure celestial power. Silver light engulfs the Shadow Keeper, burning away layers of corruption and shadow, exposing the twisted wolf soul underneath. The creature screams, thrashing against the magic, trying to escape. But Seraphina doesn't let up. She pours more power into the assault, calling on the moon goddess for strength, and she feels the divine presence answer. The moon goddess's power flows through her like liquid moonlight, amplifying her own magic 100-fold. The Shadow Keeper's screams reach a fever pitch and then cut off abruptly as the last of its corruption burns away. What's left is a withered wolf, ancient and broken, that collapses to ash the moment Seraphina's power releases it. The dark wolves throughout the courtyard drop like puppets with severed strings. Without the Shadow Keeper's control, the corruption in their blood becomes unstable, and Seraphina works quickly, sending out pulses of purifying magic to cleanse them before the darkness can consume them entirely. It takes everything she has left, draining her to the point of collapse, but she saves them, all of them. When she finally lets the power fade, when the last corrupted wolf has been purified and the courtyard falls silent except for groans of injured wolves and the crackling of small fires, Seraphina's legs give out. She drops to her knees, utterly spent, and Kale is there instantly, catching her before she can hit the ground. "You did it," he says, wonder and pride thick in his voice. "You destroyed a shadow keeper. Seraphina, do you understand what that means? No one has accomplished that in 800 years. It means I need a nap." Seraphina mumbles against his chest. "A very long nap." Kale's laugh is shaky with relief. He lifts her easily, cradling her against him as he surveys the damage to the compound. "The pack will rebuild," he says quietly. "We'll strengthen the walls, increase patrols. This won't happen again." "It will," Seraphina says tiredly. "There might be other shadow keepers, other threats we don't know about yet." She forces her eyes open to look at him. "This is what our eternity looks like, isn't it? Constant battles, constant danger." "Probably," Kale admits, "but we'll face it together, and we'll win, just like we did tonight." He presses a kiss to her forehead. "You were magnificent, terrifying and magnificent and absolutely perfect." The next week is a blur of rebuilding and recovery. The wolves Seraphina purified during the attack are integrated into the pack, grateful for their second chance and fiercely loyal to the celestial Luna who saved them. 3 of them, including a warrior named Dax who'd been corrupted for 5 years, asked to serve as her personal guard. Kale accepts on her behalf before she can protest, arguing that having wolves dedicated to her protection will let him focus on alpha duties without constantly worrying about her safety. It's during a strategy meeting about reinforcing the territory's defenses that Kale suddenly goes still, his hand freezing mid-gesture over the map spread across the table. His eyes lock on Seraphina with an intensity that makes everyone else in the room fade away. "What?" she asks, immediately concerned. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong," Kyle says slowly. "Everything's right. Perfectly, wonderfully right." He crosses to her in 3 long strides and drops to one knee, taking her hand in his. The gesture is so unexpected that Seraphina gasps, her heart suddenly pounding. "Seraphina, we're already mated, already bound for eternity. But I want more than that. I want to marry you. Human style, with vows and rings and a ceremony where I can stand in front of the entire pack and declare that you're mine in every way that matters." Tears spring to Seraphina's eyes. "Kale, I know we don't need it," he continues. "The mate bond is stronger than any human marriage could ever be. But I want to give you everything. Every symbol, every declaration, every possible way of claiming you as mine." His thumb brushes over her knuckles. "So will you marry me? Will you be not just my Luna, but my wife?" "Yes," Seraphina breathes, pulling him up so she can kiss him. "Yes, absolutely yes." The pack erupts in cheers around them. Even Draven is grinning, his earlier doubts about Seraphina long since transformed into genuine respect and affection. They plan the wedding for the full moon, 3 weeks away. It gives the pack time to prepare a celebration worthy of their alpha and celestial Luna, and it gives Seraphina time to truly appreciate what's happening. She's not just surviving anymore. She's thriving, building a life, a family, a future with the male she loves more than anything. The night before the wedding, Corvain pulls her aside with another ancient text. "I found something you should know," he says, opening to a marked page, "about celestial Lunas and children." Seraphina's breath catches. She and Kale haven't talked about children yet, too focused on adjusting to immortality and defending the pack. "What about them?" "Celestial Lunas are incredibly fertile," Corvain says, "and their children inherit extraordinary power. The histories mention hybrid offspring, part celestial, part alpha, who could command elements, speak to animals, see the future. He pauses. Morian had 3 children before Theron died. They were the most powerful wolves in existence. What happened to them? Seraphina asks, though she's not sure she wants to know. They survived Morian's destruction, Corvain says, scattered to different packs, hiding their heritage. Their descendants still exist today, carrying diluted celestial blood. He meets her eyes seriously. Your children won't be diluted. They'll be full-power celestial hybrids, the firstborn to a mated pair in 800 years. The weight of it settles over Seraphina. Her children, hers and Kale's, will be extraordinary, powerful beyond measure, and they'll need guidance, training, protection from those who would try to exploit or destroy them. But looking at the future stretching ahead, thinking about raising children with Kale, teaching them to control their gifts and use them for good, she feels excitement rather than fear. This is what they were meant for. Not just defending the pack, but building a legacy, creating a new generation of celestial wolves who can protect all wolfkind. The wedding is beautiful. They hold it under the full moon in the center of the pack's territory, with every wolf in attendance and representatives from a dozen neighboring packs bearing witness. Seraphina wears white silk that flows like water, her silver marks visible and glowing against her skin. Kyle wears traditional alpha formal wear, black leather and silver accessories, and when he sees her walking toward him, his expression makes her heart stop. The ceremony is a blend of wolf tradition and human custom. They exchange rings, simple silver bands engraved with their names, and speak vows that promise eternal devotion, partnership, and love. When Kale kisses her to seal the marriage, the pack howls their approval, and the sound echoes across the entire territory. The celebration lasts until dawn. There's food and music and dancing, and Seraphina finds herself surrounded by wolves who'd once doubted her, now eager to express their loyalty and affection. Even Corvain, usually so formal and reserved, pulls her into a brief hug and whispers, "The moon goddess chose well. You'll be a magnificent Luna for generations to come." As the sun rises and the last of the celebrating wolves finally drift off to sleep, Kale pulls Seraphina away from the party. They climb to the highest point in the territory, a cliff overlooking the forest, and sit together watching the dawn paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. "How does it feel?" Kyle asks, his arm around her shoulders. "To be my wife as well as my mate?" "Perfect," Seraphina says honestly. "Overwhelming and perfect and absolutely right." She leans her head against his shoulder. "I keep thinking about what Corvain said. About children." "Me too," Kyle admits. "I want them. Want to see little silver-marked pups running through the territory, learning to control powers that terrify and amaze in equal measure. Want to build a family with you that lasts centuries." He pauses. "But only when you're ready. We have all the time in the world." "I think I'm ready," Seraphina says softly. "Not right this moment, but soon. I want to see what we create together. What kind of future we can build." Kale turns her face up to his and kisses her slowly, thoroughly, until she's breathless and clinging to him. "Then we'll build it," he promises. "One day, 1 year, 1 century at a time. We'll raise powerful children and protect the pack and face whatever threats come, together. Always together." "Always," Seraphina echoes. And sitting there on the cliff with her mate, her husband, watching the sun rise on their first day as a married couple, she knows it's true. Whatever challenges eternity brings, whatever darkness tries to rise against them, they'll face it the same way they've faced everything else, as partners, as equals, as 2 halves of one eternal soul. The future stretches out before them, endless and bright with possibility. Seraphina can picture it clearly now. children with silver marks and alpha strength, grandchildren and great-grandchildren carrying on their legacy, centuries of protecting the pack and healing the corrupted and standing as symbols of hope for all wolf kind. It's not the life she imagined when she stumbled into Nightshade territory 6 months ago, half dead and terrified. It's infinitely better. And as Kale pulls her closer, as the mate bond between them pulses with love and devotion and unshakable commitment, Seraphina knows with absolute certainty that she's exactly where she belongs. Claimed, cherished, home. Did you enjoy this story? Want a part 2? Share your thoughts in the comments, and tell me which state you're watching from so I can give you a shout out in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.